Welcome people, my name is Sean. I'm back again with another video, and in this video we're going to talk about how do people choose a stock. How do you know which stock to buy? A very effective tip that I usually give beginners is that you choose an industry that you like. For some people it might be the healthcare industry. For some people it might be the automobile industry. For some people, it's the electronics industry, specifically phones, computers. For other people, it could be the clothing industry. Whatever you really like and you're passionate towards, you start out with that. You're a beginner to invest in. You want to invest in a stock. You choose something that you're somewhat familiar about. So that's the first step I would say you take. You choose an industry that you like. Don't jumble stocks in different industries as yet. You're just starting out. You got to choose one industry. Then you take it to another industry, then another industry. But choose an industry you like. Think of something. And whatever you're not certain of, you type in Google and you could say, does this specific company offer stocks to the public? And Google will tell you, yes, here's the stock price. So that's the other point that I'm trying to get to. Whatever industry you choose, you got companies in that industry that offer stocks. So for example, let's say you choose the healthcare industry. The companies that offer stock in the healthcare industry right now are Pfizer and Moderna. You got Johnson & Johnson as well. But those are just 3 out of many that offers stocks to the public. Let's say you choose the automobile industry. You really like cars. You got NIO, you got XPeng, you got Tesla, you got Ford. Those are just 4 top stocks in the automobile industry. Let's say you choose clothing industry. You got Adidas, you got Nike. Let's say you choose electronics. You got Apple, right? You're a giant in the industry. Phone services too, T-Mobile, So whatever industry you like, you choose that industry. Now, this brings me to the meat of the video, where I want to talk about how do you go about choosing the right company. It is something called fundamental analysis. This is part 1 out of 3 videos. So in the other 2 videos, I'll mention the other 2 analysis. But for this video, we're going to be exploring what is fundamental analysis. So in very layman's term, fundamental analysis is using ratios, revenues, and other important business information to determine the profitability of a company. Okay? So let me say that again. You basically use ratios, right? And you use the revenues as well and other really, really important data from a company to determine whether or not it's profitable. One rule of measure that I like is that I use 3 years worth of data. And if I see progress within the 3 years, I say, you know what, this company is looking solid. I'm going to go ahead and invest in that company. If the company is declining in 3 years, I stay as far as possible from it and I watch it at a distance. If the company shows it increases, then it decreases, then it increases again, or it probably increase, decrease, and then it increase a little bit, I watch it. I need to see all 3 years or the last 2 years increasing. So as I said before, we got to do some research, people. This is not easy stuff where you just go and you say, oh, I want to get this stock and it's a fly-by-night thing. No, you got to do research. If you're really about investing in long term and you want to accumulate wealth over time, proper research must be done. And fundamental analysis is the first step. So I'm going to give you 2 metrics in this video that you could use, but I strongly suggest you go and research the other metrics. All you got to do is type in Google metrics used to determine the profitability of a company, or you could type fundamental analysis of whichever company you want to type research, and then you see the ratios come up. Then you type that ratio and the company in Google, and the information just pops up. Easy as that. The first metric I'm going to give you is revenue. You're going to go on Google, whatever company, let's say you're using Apple, you type Apple's revenue for the past 3 years, and then the data will come up. If you see the revenue is increasing each year, that's a good indicator that Apple is being profitable. As I said before, there's more to it. This is just a simplistic version of how you determine to get a stock. That is it. You got to do more research. So one good way that I know and I've used is revenue. Because if a company is getting more money, they're doing something good. Every year they're getting more money, definitely something good is going on. The other metric, it's kind of complicated for beginners, but it's necessary for you to know. This metric is called return on shareholders' equity, or return on equity. So basically, this is any money they get from shareholders. If you buy a stock, it measures the return they make from that money. So if you find the percentage start increasing every year for 3 years, that their return on equity, which is also called ROE, if it's increasing, that's a good thing. That shows that they're taking money that you give them, and they're making money on top of that. And usually the number that I look for is 5%. If they have a 5% return on equity every year for the past 3 years, that's a done deal. That's a good indicator. And as I said before, this is just 2 out of many indicators, and I suggest you do thorough research before you invest into a stock, right? Okay, let me show you an example real quick how to use the revenue and return of equity, right? So this is Google right here. You're going to type, let's say I want to use Amazon as an example. So you type Amazon revenue for the last 3 years. You type that in Google search engine, and you could choose any data from any site. Got Statista here, got Market Watch. I love to use macro trends, so I'm gonna click on them, and then you scroll down to where you see the information, and you zoom in. I'm zooming in for you to see. So Amazon annual revenue of 2018, 2019, 2020. If you realize, for 2018 it was $232 billion. 2019 it increased 20% to $80 billion, and then 2020 it went to 386, and that was during the pandemic. So Amazon had a 37% increase in revenue during the pandemic. That is good information. It shows strong sales growth, so they have strong revenue, and it's a good indicator that the company is being profitable. Let's look at the return of equity. Amazon, right? Return on equity for the last 3 years. Once again, I'm using macro trends. Right? You scroll down, and then you see the information. This is the date on the far left, and that's the return on equity on the far right. Right? Let me zoom it up. 2018, that's 2017, 2018, 14.2% in 2018. Look at this figure right here. Then 21%, and go all the way up to 2020, 27%. So you say, on average, for the past 3 years, Amazon has had a return equity of on average 20%, over 20%, right? And remember, previously I said in the video that 5% is a good number for me. So based on these 2 metrics, Amazon is doing well. There are other metrics you should explore, but I'm just giving a simplistic version of how to do fundamental analysis by using return on equity and revenues. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and it was very informative. If not, as I said, reach out to me in the comment section, or those of you who know me personally, shoot me a message. Please remember to like, share, subscribe. I appreciate all of you who take time out to watch my videos. Thank you. You motivate me. Look out for part 2 and part 3.